that we don't have any disparities. It's always on the base hourly wage. If your salary is going to be 4% increase on the gift away, they're 4% increase on your salary. So they're like you keep going and then quickly because it's going quite a bit. So we'll just leave it at that until Sheriff gets here. There have been, there are departments that ask for some disparities between supervisory positions and non-supervisory positions. They didn't feel like there was a big enough disparity. We tried to accommodate the best that we could in those scenarios. And we never compromised lower, we went higher. And so that should make y'all feel better.
If that's something we requested, if we asked for a larger gap, will you let us know privately if that was
Yes.
granted? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say in our meeting. We'll take a look at those. It was pretty much standard across the board, so we were fair to everybody. Because there were several different options. We had some interesting requests this year. We actually had requests to lower some people. And I don't remember that happening very often. We don't typically do that. We didn't, to be honest with you. We actually maybe give some disparities to the person above them so we can give them both. We don't think we should lower people's pay. That's,
Did we do on?
normally don't argue with elected officials on what they want to do, but I really don't like to do that.
We didn't lower it though.
What I'm saying is, one, the rocks make it two, that we not make the story spread it over 2 years.
Oh,
Well, kind of.
yes, we didn't do as
We
much.
didn't do, yeah, so it's like, if they, and the ones that you requested, it's right now, we do so. Well, the sheriff's here, last week. Sorry, I think I was last call.
Me, sorry, right, seriously, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to, yeah, turn it off so that you can. So we had a really tough budget this year because of some of the way the state's done things, particularly with our highway funds and stuff. It's just a disaster, but we have to do what we have to do. And so it's hard, and that's why it's taking so long to get these things done. In general, first of all, I just want to say everybody at minimum got a 4% raise. That's basically the lowest raise. There might have been an exception too because of the way it was budgeted. We couldn't because they didn't allow us to. And then the state can control people, they're controlled by the state. There is a situation we're going to have to address with elected officials. We'll talk to them individually because of the way that it's going to have to be done. We've got yet to be determined on that. But in people who ask for disparities between, say, a deputy, a chief deputy and a deputy or something of that nature, we try to accommodate them as best we could. If there was a dramatic increase requested, we might not give you the whole increase, but we gave you part of it. And maybe next year we can come in and create a bigger disparity along with our budget. The county is in good financial shape, that's the good news. The bad news is we're having to fund things out of county money that we didn't have to fund in our county money in the past.
Due to the news.
And it's quite honestly, it's highway, it's county highway stuff, and like equipment and stuff, we're not paying for that was always paid out of gas tax and stuff, and the state is just keeping the money in. We're having to, so that affects all of you, because that's money we're taking out of county general and spending it in areas we never had to spend it. But our hands are tied a little bit. If we want to have good roads and those things in the county, we got to do it. So that does affect you all, but the good news is we're in a good financial situation. I'll repeat what I said earlier to some of the elected officials who were here earlier to some good employees. If you have an hourly wage, your raise was calculated on your hourly rate wage. So if you look at the grand total of what you're budgeted for a particular area, now divide that by the number of employees and the number of hours, that number might not be the same. it's done on the actual hourly wage, because when you start, rounding issues, the bigger that number, the more disparity creates, and then somebody says, I'm not getting paid what I was deserving. So we just did it all the same this year. Everyone get calculated if you're hourly, your increase was calculated on your hourly wage. If you're a salary, it was calculated on your salary. So there shouldn't be any issue with that. Jason pulled his hair out last year, and he still has some left, but I don't have any to lose, and I don't want to do with it. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Am I missing anything?
Round to the nearest county.
We rounded it to the nearest half penny. So on the hourly wage and stuff, so we did this very good. And so, like I said, there are some people who've had disparity pay increases going to be more than 4%. But there are others that, for most of the grand total, minimum pay increase are going to get 4%. And the only reason I can't say what everybody else got is because it's different. It's kind of based upon what the level of position they had was, how much disparity needed to be filled. Some had already had a disparity, but it needed to be bigger. Some of them had no disparity, but needed to be quite a bit bigger, so the raises were done accordingly. Anybody have any questions about any of that?
We might mention that the 4% raise applies to both full-time and part-time employees.
Full and part-time, across the board.
Salary,
And state of Indiana gave 0 raises this year, so keep that in mind, that we think we're being very, very fair. And the good news is the county's in great shape. The bad news is we're spending more money from the county level to do things from income we used to receive from other sources. And that kind of affects all of us. So sorry about that. That is what it is. Talk to your local legislators.
Let's go.
Getting back to that, I thought the state itself was in great shape for the last couple of years. How come all of a sudden they're cutting back? I'm not you guys or anything, but.
Well, I can tell you what happened if you don't follow the General Assembly, but they project what their income is going to be. And by the way, we have a governor who's promised basically to get rid of property tax over. And there are a lot of people who are for that. I hate property tax myself. The problem is Clay County already had very low property taxes, so it's we're already very efficient, and it doesn't affect us equally, but that really didn't have anything to do with why any of these other things happen. So the state, in particular, so when the state did all their income projections, and because they're moving more to income projected income instead of guaranteed property tax, what they know they can kind of predict that. When they project incomes to go down because of inflation, actually raises it, but inflation gets reduced, which it hasn't been reduced a little bit the last year or so. And all those things, it changes the projections on how much income the state's going to get. And so when they did the legislature this year and they had all their income projections, guess what? They weren't as high as they thought they were going to be. So the state response was, because we've always been a very responsible state, we have a multi-billion-dollar surplus. The state's response was, we're cutting everything. And they did.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and so state has no problems as far as that goes. We still have a surplus, we have all the same. But the reason we have a surplus on all the same is because they're tight for the most part. I'll just say this because I've already said it to everybody else, and I've got people mad at me for saying this, but the fact of the matter is that when you're in rural county, you get outvoted on everything. And it's not our local elected officials' fault. They fight for us. They just don't win, because it doesn't matter what party you're in. When it comes to urban versus rural communities, the parties will merge. So the Democrats and Republicans will vote lock in step for certain communities and us, because we lack the numbers. And by the way, gerrymandering hurts rural communities typically. If they want to gerrymander and make our maps better, it actually would help us. Like some of what they're wanting to do right now, it would probably help rural communities because they want to put more votes out. Right now, it's Republican, whoever's in charge is going to be whoever it is. It'd probably help us if they gerrymandered more, but because the cities, guess what? The cities don't vote our way typically, so they try to dip off pieces of them and make it, That's another discussion for another day, but I'm just saying that we don't, the big one that aggravates me, and I'll just tell you flat out, and it's because of the highway budgets and everything, we raised our gas tax years ago. We went to a percentage instead of a flat rate, and because of that, gas prices being high, they started collecting considerably more gas tax. We've gotten less every year. Now, how is that? How can they raise taxes? We have I-70 goes right through our community. We get less gas tax today than we did before they raised it. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it's because they create a formula at the state, and that formula is based upon two factors: lanes of road and cars. They don't count trucks. So why would they count trucks? Because rural communities, as a percentage, have a lot higher trucks. There's a perfect thing. Our legislators, as far as I can remember, have tried to get them to add trucks. And what they'll do is, well, we'll just start counting more lane miles. All of our county roads are considered one-lane roads. How many city streets have you been on that's not 2 to 4 lanes? We get screwed as quite honestly. And so it hurts our commissioner when they're trying to take care of our roads and do all the same. So because we are in a good fiscal situation in our county, we're going to be able to try to help our highway department a little bit. Man, that's terrible precedent because they'll say, well, you guys are doing okay. Yeah, we're doing okay because we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Literally Paul. Paul and Brian and Marty in the highway department. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. So if you ever want to have something to chew on your legislator, do now. Honestly, you can chew on our legislators as much as they want, quite honestly. They're trying all the best they can. It's a statewide issue. It's not alone, it's not an Indiana problem. Our founding fathers predicted this problem when they created the Constitution, which is why you never, ever, ever want to be able to get rid of electoral college, because it helps protect rural communities. If you think about it from a national level, if they took away the electoral college, all the presidential candidates would go to the 6, 7 largest cities in America, and that's where they spend all their time, and that's where all the money would go, and rural communities would starve. That's my political platform.
Moral story, buy a truck, or buy a car.
Yeah, I'll buy a car if you have a choice. But, you know, you can't sometimes. You're a businessman or a farmer or whatever, you can't. So we get short of the stick. It's not going to change. It's been that way since 1776. Our founding fathers tried to prevent some of it, but it doesn't work. And anybody who thinks our founding fathers weren't geniuses, read it. So that's all I have to say today about that.
Does anybody want Jeffrey to explain his shirt?
I'm glad to. He was corrupted as a young child. As long as I've known him, it's like this. And Dave Aaron as well. So. All right. Well, that's it, folks. If anybody has an individual question, come talk to me. I'll need to talk to a few people.
Bob Bell. Judge Bell, Circuit Court,
Judge Bell?
Good. What?
I need you to stay over.
Okay, I got an eviction upstairs
I
waiting.
need the clerk to stay over and the sheriff to stay over, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. See, now you know that. And if you don't forget to come get your tickets, I'll let you know when I find out.
It's off. It's off.
All right.
Oh, you do.
We did start. I'm gonna go to